You wake up already negotiating, not with another person, with your life. You tidy the room. You replay the night. You mentally argue with the word should before breakfast. And underneath all of it is the same tension. This should not be my life. Not like this. Not now. Not this way. You are not lost. You are resisting what is already true. Let's get precise. There is a difference between pain and resistance. Pain says, I wanted something else. I miss what is not here. I feel the ache of unmet desire. Resistance says, this should not be happening. I must solve this now. I cannot let this be real. That's the part most people miss. They think the suffering is coming from the pain. Often it is coming from the argument, from the internal persecution, from trying to force your current moment into a version you can emotionally approve of. And here's the distortion. You think clarity means getting to one clean answer. It does not. Sometimes clarity is being able to hold two things without forcing either one to disappear. I did not want it this way. And this is what is here. I feel the loss, and I see the beauty that still exists. I want intimacy, ease, sensual aliveness, connection, and that is not here in the way I want it right now. That is not confusion. That is truth without simplification. And when a woman cannot tolerate that split, she starts searching for relief. Astrology, timing, signs, explanation, punishment, fault, destiny, meaning. Anything that gives the nervous system a cleaner story than this is where I am. Not emotionally, structural. Because once the body is no longer chasing, controlling, or numbing, what becomes visible is space. And space is hard to an overfunctioning system. Old pattern. Do something, force movement, create certainty, fill the gap. New reality. Wanting exists. Nothing is immediate. Desire is alive. Timing is not yours to command. That gap feels like confusion, but often it is just unfilled space. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. How much of your suffering is actually coming from your refusal to let your current reality be incomplete? Inside the infinity method Unbraced, this is the shift from survival speed interpretation into governed capacity. Now, let's name the mechanism. You're not breaking. You are in release and reorganization at the same time. When the body opens, it does not only release pressure, it releases what was stored beneath the blocked channel. Grief, anger, frustration, unmet longing. The part of you that did not vanish just because you became more regulated. So when desire opens and tears come after, that is not failure. That is the body telling the truth faster than the mind can organize it. And then the mind does what it has always done. It tries to make the moment legible. Am I doing wrong? Why is this not here yet? Should I be somewhere else? Should I be doing more? Did I miss something? Did life miss me? That's not intuition. That's the old system trying to regain control through narrative. And then there is the other distortion. Spiritual language used to flatten reality. It is what it is. It had to happen this way. Everything happens for a reason. Maybe. We need to be careful because those phrases can become very polite lies when they're used to get out of impact, grief, anger, or contradiction. That is not truth with love. That is truth avoidance with incense on it. Truth with love sounds more like this. I was angry. That affected me. I wanted something else. It is not here. I feel frustrated. I do not need to distort that to stay spiritual. That is adult. No bypass, no collapse, no performance. And this matters because many women are not actually afraid of pain. They are afraid of naming reality without immediately fixing, softening, or justifying it. They are afraid of the reaction to truth. So they tiptoe, they translate, they dilute. They say it is what it is. When what they mean is, I don't know how to hold this without trying to control the emotional weather. But control is not the same as capacity. Here is the clearer frame. The middle is not neutrality. The middle is capacity. Pain on one side, love on the other. Desire on one side, reality on the other. And a mature woman stops treating the middle like compromise. The middle is where she can hold both without turning either one into a problem. I want it differently. And I am not going to make this moment wrong because I do. That is the move. Not resignation, not suppression, not false peace. Capacity. You do not need to choose between wanting and accepting. You need to stop acting like your wanting makes it what is here unacceptable. That is the theme you keep circling. And you're circling because it is a real edge. The human says, I want love, I want sex, I want closeness, I want relief. I want this to move. I want this now. And the deeper self says, this is what is here. Most women try to force one to cancel the other. Either they suppress desire to feel spiritual, or they weaponize desire to fight reality. The cleaner option is harder. Let both stand. That is sovereignty. That is what truth in action looks like. You stop trying to make one story hold your entire life. You stop calling yourself confused when you are actually holding contradiction. You stop turning every strong feeling into a command. You stop assuming desire means urgency. You stop assuming pain means something is wrong. You stop using mystical language to override impact. You stop using psychological language to avoid plain truth. And you learn to say simple, exact things. I feel neglected. I want more. It is not here yet. I am frustrated. I am still okay. This is a regulated sentence, not because it sounds pretty, because it doesn't lie. This also changes how you relate to others. If you scream at your child and then act confused by their reaction, that's not spirituality, that's dishonesty. If someone withdraws because of your anger and you say, I don't know why they're upset, that is evasion. If a father blames a son for the consequences of his own rage and then wonders why the son will not return, that is not mastery. That is reality waiting to be named. Love is not softening truth. Love is the willingness to name reality without hiding from impact. That includes yours, that includes theirs. And this is why your dragon matters, not as chaos, as non-distorted edge. Because there are moments where love is warm, and there are moments where love says, no, absolutely not. That was my anger. This was the impact. This doesn't work for me. I am not available for that. That is not contradiction. That is coherence, warm and sharp, not one or the other. Here's what it looks like in real life. You wake up frustrated. Old pattern. Interpret immediately, make it metaphysical, make it your fault, make it fate, make it a sign that you are off path. New pattern. You name this state. I'm frustrated. Or the frustration is present. I feel desire and lack at the same time. I want something different. Nothing needs to be solved in this exact minute. Another moment. You notice yourself reaching for a clean explanation. Old pattern. It had to happen this way. This is the lesson. This means I am vibrating wrong. This means I'm late. New pattern. You stop and you say, this happened. I lived it. I do not need to assign cosmic approval or disapproval to move forward. You can ask further, what is it revealing to me? And you let another moment to appear. You feel the split. One side says, I see the beauty. The other side says, I still hate parts of how this unfolded. Old pattern, force 100% acceptance of one side, shame the resistance, perform transcendence. New pattern, you let this split exist. You do not resolve it into a cleaner story. That is emotional honesty. And here's the live integration layer. I woke up with frustration already circulating. Not dramatic on the outside, but present. I had that familiar feeling of being slightly behind my own life. Like I should already be somewhere else, someone else, past this. I started tidying, not because the room needed it that badly, because movement felt easier than sitting in that not knowing. That is the behavior. Then the thought stream started. What the fuck is happening? What am I doing wrong? This should be different by now. That's old system. Fast, punishing, interpretive. And right there, I caught the actual move. I was trying to force my life into one approved story. Either it was all beautiful and meant to be, or something had gone wrong and someone had to answer for it. I sat down and I said out loud, I do not have to choose one story right now. That changed the moment. Not because the frustration disappeared, because the argument did. The body was still activated. The desire was still there. The lack was still there. But there was no courtroom now. No demand that I turn this into certainty before I was allowed to breathe. That was the awareness. Not that I had solved my life, that I had stopped prosecuting my current moment for not matching my preference. And once that happened, something quieter became available. Not mystical, simple. I want more. This is where I am. Both are true. I do not need to fight either one. That is the plain landing. So let me leave you with this. Where are you still forcing your life into a single story because you do not yet trust your capacity to hold contradiction? You are not confused. You're learning how to stop arguing with what is here while still telling the truth about what you want. You don't have to earn love to be safe. If this is landing, stay with me.